Okay guys, this is going to be how to make your table of contents. Check out the video. Here we go. You can already see that I have my science fair report open, so if you're not quite there yet, go ahead and get that open. We're going to just jump right into this. I'm going to put my cursor right at the Q of my question for my variables and hypothesis page. I'm going to show you another little bit of formatting here. I'll zoom in a little bit. If I come up here to insert, I can insert a page break, and what that does is basically starts a new page. Okay, so basically that inserted a new page right above my question or my variables and hypothesis page. Okay, so this page right here, we're going to call this the table of contents. Table of contents, and we might have to get it onto this page here. Doesn't look like it's cooperating a whole lot. We're going to insert that page break again. There we go. Okay, so that my table of contents is at the top. Okay, so we want to make sure that it is the first thing at the top of the page. We want to double check that our variables page is at the top of its page. And we're going to go ahead and set up a couple rules here. Okay. Now, what we really want it to look like is to have a list of things, of pages, and what's on those pages. And then over here on the right-hand side, we want a list of page numbers. So the best way to do that is to set up what we call tabs. So if I click on the ruler up here, I can add a left tab stop. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. That's at the 1. And then I'm going to want to add one again at about, let's say, 4.5. Okay, so I'm going to add another left tab right there. Now, once that I have these in place, I can hit Tab, and I can start to enter my things. The first page here that I had was the variables and hypothesis. Okay, so that's that page. Now, these are titles, so we should make sure we're capitalizing. We don't need this to be bold or underlined, so I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to debold it. I'm going to de-underline it. Okay, and then I'm going to hit the Tab key. And now I got to find out what page number that's on. So now that we've moved it, it's actually on page 3. Okay, and so I'm going to type page 3. I'm going to hit Return. I'm going to hit Tab. And now the next thing that I'm going to put in here is my materials and procedures. And I notice that that's going to be on page 4. So materials and procedures, tab. Now the tab key is on your keyboard. It's the upper left-hand corner of your keyboard. It says tab. And I'm going to type in page 4 because that was on page 4. Okay. Now at this point, your page numbers might start to vary from mine. Okay, my next thing is the research paper, and that's going to start for me on page 6. So you're going to want to make sure that your research paper starts on whatever page that you have. Okay, so my research page, let's go ahead and type that in. That was my research. We'll fix that in a second. Research paper. Now again, it's highlighting that, or it's making it bold and underlined. You may run into problems like this. So I didn't panic, right? I said, oh man, what happened? And you might say that too. Okay, but let's go ahead and fix this. So I'm going to highlight that again, and I'm going to unbold, ununderline. Oops, make sure you highlight all of it. Unbold that little R and underline. And I'm going to hit Tab. Oh man, what the heck's going on? All right, well, let's try this again. So I'm going to delete this, delete, hit Return, Tab. Alright, so what the heck is going on? Let's get this out of here. There. Maybe it just didn't like that so close. Let's try this again. Research, paper, tab. There we go. Can't tell you why that happened. I really can't. Looks like if you have this too close, it kind of messes it all up. So I guess be aware of that. Heads up. So let's check what page my research was on again. Mine was on 6. start on page 6. So come back up here to page 6. And I'm going to hit return, tab, and the next piece of my research was, or my report was the table. Okay, so let's go ahead and put those in there. So that was the table, tab, that was on page 7 for me. Hit tab again. Let's check down here. I'm scrolling down, and that was the graphs, and that was on page 8. So I'm going to scroll back up. Hope you're not getting dizzy watching this. Graph, page 8, tab, or the return key, tab. The next one was my analysis and conclusion, and that started on page 9 for me. I'm going to hit the return key, tab, and then the last part was bibliography, and that should be on page 10. And so I'm going to go ahead and scroll through and double check. Oh, I noticed right away at the top I have this big gap here, so I need to bring that back up. So I'm right there. So let's check those pages. So my graphs were on page 8, my analysis and conclusions page 9, and my bibliography starts on page 10. Now, note, oh, that's a good thing to point out here. Notice that my bibliography spilled over onto page 11. I don't need to put that into my table of contents, okay? It's going to start on that page, and so that's good enough, okay? So that's how to quickly do your table of contents. The most important thing here is that before you even start doing tabs, you have to, when I say tabs, by hitting the tab on your keyboard, before you even start hitting that or hitting return or clicking around, you need to set up these, and I guess they're called left tab stops. Okay, so we need to put these left tab stops in. Okay, so if I add a left tab stop that I don't want, I can always click it and drag it off, and it will go away. Okay, so one more time, to add a left tab stop is to click on the ruler and then click on the add left tab stop, and then if I don't want that, or I want it in a different place, I can click and drag it. I can move it into different places, or I can just click it and drag it off the ruler, and that'll get rid of it. Okay, but to set up my table of contents here, I have my table of contents subheader. Notice it's listed the same as all of my other subheaders. Nothing special about it. And then I put my left tab stop at 1 inch and at 4.5 inches, and you'll have a nice table of contents just like this. Okay, I think I've said this is the last thing for a lot of things, but really I think at least that this is the last thing of this final report. Okay, so you should have a cover page, table of contents, variables and hypothesis page, materials and procedures, background research paper, table, graph, analysis and conclusion, and bibliography. And if you look at my page count here, this is indeed about 11 pages, and so you have successfully completed that massive 12-page report, and there's been some tears along the way. I know there didn't need to be, but the procrastinators amongst us probably have cried more than others. But I hope you feel accomplished. This is a pretty big deal to be able to make a report like this, and all in all, you guys have done a great job. Okay, so wrap this up. We're going to turn this in, and we'll do some editing, and then we'll polish it up, and then our final product, I'm going to have you print this off so that you have it for your science fair. So when you do your science fair, there will be some things you need to set out at your table, and we'll go through that in class, and I'll probably end up making another video about it. Okay, so go ahead and get to work, and this will be the last thing before Thanksgiving break, so enjoy Thanksgiving break.